Also, guys, we are well into the holiday shopping season, but not as many shoppers are feeling merry and bright. According to the Commerce Department's November saw slower retail sales, signaling trouble for retailers. We're joined now by Nicole Lapin, who is the New York Times bestselling author and money expert. You're on set with us. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Great to see you guys.
Absolutely.
Am I invited to the movies too?
Yeah.
Invited, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, they still have some seats. You know, they're all singular, which is actually good for you because you always go by yourself.
You're right, I do.
Going to a movie by yourself, highly
it's
recommend.
nice.
Look, I'm balling on a budget. I can't be buying tickets
I like
for
it.
everybody. Nicole, let's dive into this shopping slowdown. Why the shopping slowdown in November?
You know, listen, I think budgeting sucks, but so does being broke. As you mentioned, you got to start with the movie tickets first. But when people say they went off budget for the holiday season, that's the first thing I ask. I'm like, did you even have a budget? Did you even have a list that you were sticking to? So I really think if you stick to like a grocery list and figure out exactly how much you're spending for each person, that's a pretty surefire way that you actually do it.
Like, you'd always make those returns, right?
I love a good return, of course, but you know what? You want to obviously try to get people exactly what they want. Sometimes I even suggest giving money or
Gift cards.
listen, I always like a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Buy exactly what you want and
Who doesn't?
back on those returns.
Pay off some bills as well.
Ain't no shame in that game.
Exactly. 6 fewer shopping days this holiday season. How do you see that impacting sales?
Yeah, I think that we're actually only taking care of our side of the street, so we're only in charge of ourselves. So I think that planning ahead is super important, and there are some great tools out there that you can use. You can even go old school and just use like a journal if you want to, or you can use Pay It Plan It from American Express, which is actually the first of its kind for card holders that allow you to pay off bigger purchases over a period of time for a fixed monthly rate. Or you can just pay off stuff as you go, so smaller things that hit your account, coffee,
Yeah.
whatever. I say, listen, buy the latte going into the new year as
You need
well.
it for the energy to
You
go
have
shopping.
to allow yourself some of those small indulgences, otherwise you'll end up binging later on.
Brad says that all the time, that coffee is like these little luxuries that we can still afford for ourselves, you know?
I agree. It's like a financial Hershey's Kiss. If you allow yourself a little piece of chocolate, you won't end up binging on a big old hunk of chocolate cake in the middle of the night. Not that I know anything about that, because you're so hungry and so deprived.
Biggest shopping trends that you're noticing this holiday season, what are those?
You know, I think right now in the retail world, again, if you're trying to take care of your own budget going into the new year, then you want to give yourself a little bit of a cooling off period or even a social media cleanse. It's easy to get into the social media rabbit hole, as we all know, and do impulse purchases on social media that weren't on that list that we talked about earlier, right? So we're not doing a food detox right now. We're not cutting out even the small piece of chocolate, but I think it's a good idea to do a social media cleanse because that way you'll actually cut back on those temptations.
Definitely, because then you see everybody with their cool stuff, and you're like, I gotta get this cool stuff, and then it just
Have
becomes
FOMO,
like
YOLO, whatever's going on. But yeah, if you give yourself a cooling off period, like put all the stuff in your cart and then seriously step away for 24 hours. And chances are you probably didn't even remember that you had anything in there. And then if you didn't even want it in the first place.
That's really smart because some of these sites will clear out your shopping carts now if you are idle for more than half an hour, or the next day. So when you go back, you have to go through the whole rigmarole.
It's a blessing in disguise.
Right, because you have to really think about whether or not you want that. That's really, really smart. So what are your own habits? You know, do you tend to buy later in the season because discounts get deeper, or do you try to get everything in, you know, when the big sales come out during Black Friday?
You know, I try to get everything in the beginning, and I also try to clear my cookies. You know, they clear your shopping cart, of course, but cookies, as you know, and I was looking at your browser, you can see stuff on the side. You're like, how did the social media or my email know that I was spying on those parachutes?
Yeah.
And of course, that's what advertisers do to make sure that you complete the purchase. So a good idea is to go ahead and clear your cookies.
That's a great idea, actually. It's a really good idea.
They won't keep stalking you with that temptation. Like if you had a bad day, it's Friday, whatever the market's doing, and you're like, Mama needs me a pair of shoes. By the way, we should put ourselves on our gift list.
We should. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yes.
Are you on your gift list?
I am, because in my next question, who are you really buying for? I know I'm at the top of that list. However, my parents, my sisters, they're up there. Who should people really be prioritizing?
You know, I did a social experiment where I asked women to list the top 5 things they value most, and they listed amazing things: their house, their car, their kids, their job, whatever. None of them wrote themselves on the list. And I think therein lies the issue. You have to put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. They don't say that on the plane, and I live on a plane these days. Before takeoff, just to waste time. It's true, you can't be of service to anyone else on your list if you're crashing and burning yourself. So I think you should be on the top of the gift list. So get yourself a present. I'm also taking some inspo from 7 Rings and getting all of my besties a right-handed wedding ring like I got for myself.
Oh, that's so nice. I like that a lot. What about the courtesy around holiday tipping?
You know, there's a lot of different like Emily Post type things that you can look at for holiday tipping. Typically, you just want to give your providers, babysitter, you know, your nail folks, hair folks. I know all of your coiffing that you need, Brad. You just want to give them an extra time. So if you pay a certain amount of tip, you just want to try to double that the best you can.
All right,
Awesome.
sweet. That's going to be super easy. I cut my own hair, so I'm just going to tip myself.
Right?
Nicole Lapin, New York Times best-selling author and money expert, joining us here today. Great to see you.
Awesome. Great to see you guys. Thank you.